Hello everyone and welcome back to Journey to Everywhere, a Kerbal Space Program series where we are trying to reach every single celestial body here in the game. And we are starting off here today on Juna with Bob Kerbin because we are playing in a science save, which means we have to unlock the tech tree by discovering lots of different things throughout the system. And we can use Bob here to send some science back to Kerbin, because last time out we landed a kerbal over on Ike with a relay antenna on their spacecraft, which means we can now send data all the way back home from Juna here. And as Bob's come all of this way, we might as well get every last bit of science out of him we can. And I have noticed there is this one red rock over here, and I'm wondering if we can get a different surface sample from that rock. So I'm going to head over there and have a look, although we are using parallax, so it might just be something we just walk through like the rest of these rocks. Okay, here we are at the rock. Let's find out. Do we just walk straight through this thing? Yep, we do. Okay, yeah, I'm assuming that the surface sample here will just be the same as over by the lander. Let's have a look. Yep, 5 science. We might as well keep it, I guess. Okay, now that Bob has transmitted all of the science and all of the data that he can, we're going to jump over to Ike and to Gregory Kerbin, who is on the surface of Ike, because I think there is still a bit of science that we can do over here. Okay, so here we are with Gregory. Let's have a look. If we take a surface sample, yeah, okay, we can still get a lot of science out of this and an EVA report as well, and then we can head back up into the capsule and transmit this stuff back home to Kerbin. Okay, that is all of the science transmitted back home from the Juna system here. Now let's go see what we can unlock in the tech tree. Okay, we are back at the Space Center now, and we've got ourselves about 340 science to spend, which is amazing. So if we jump into the research and development, we can see what we're looking for is the science processing module, because that basically gives you infinite science. Okay, there it is there. Yeah, this thing, if we put it up into orbit, or put it anywhere really, we can just deliver it with research to do, and it will like passively generate science over time. So we are definitely going to go ahead and research that today. And we'll have 85 science left. I guess we can just go and get one more thing. Yep, this thing is 45 science, so we'll research that as well. Okay, so we have used those new parts to produce ourselves a first space station. So this is Station 1. Unfortunately, we don't have any docking ports at the moment, so I'd like to make this thing grow in the future, but we can't dock new modules onto this one just yet. So this is going to be Station 1, and when this one's done and we've got our docking ports, we will crash this thing back down to Earth, and we will put Station 2 up into orbit. But for now, we've got this. So we've got our science module here. We've got a lot of science components. We've got the thermometer, the mystery goo. We've also got this new thing, which I don't have a clue how this works. We can light scanner, so I think we can scan the surface of Kerbin with that. I guess we'll find out. So we've got our little escape pod for our kerbals here to send them back to Kerbin one day. We've got the main stage, which is going to take us up into orbit, and we've even got struts now. So look, hopefully these shouldn't wobble too much, although we don't have the proper aerodynamic nose combs yet. We haven't got the right size. This is the biggest one we've got, which is a bit annoying, but that's all right. These will do a good enough job for now. And there is one thing I've forgotten. We need to add a communicator to this so we can actually send the data back down to Kerbin. So let's add a few communitrons just in case they break on entry. Let's add 4 of them up here like that. Let's not touch anything else. Perfect. All right, now we just need to select our astronauts. So the key with this one is we need to make sure we have 2 scientists, and at the moment we've only got pilots and engineers, so we're gonna have to go to the astronaut complex. There's one Jurel and there's another Tankal. Okay, perfect. These 2 guys are going to be going up into the space station. They'll be going up in the command pod up here, and then when we get into orbit, we'll fly them down, and they can do their science work in their science module here. Okay, here we are on the launch pad. Let's have a look from inside the cockpit. How are things looking? I can't see the other kerbal. He must be behind me. Right, I think we're ready to go. SAS on, RCS, even though we haven't got any RCS. Let's throttle up and then fire up into orbit. Well, that's not good. Let's put some fins on so we got a bit more control. Okay, take 2. Let's go again. Okay, so here we have Station 1 in orbit around Kerbin. We're at about 200,000 meters up, and it's a very stable orbit that our 2 kerbals can just work away in. But we do need to move them into the science module. I'm just wondering if I can get any... Nope, no science from any of this. What about the scanner? Where is it? What can this do? Must be stationary to start. Oh, I should have done this on the ground. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, fine. Okay, so we can go ahead and transfer our crew across from the command module here down to the science center. There we go. These two are both in their little science hub now. Let's have a look inside. This is what it looks like on the inside, although I don't know if I can do any science with them at the moment. Let's have a look. Okay, it's operational, but it's not producing any science at the moment because I haven't got any stuff for them to do. Time warp. Okay, so we can log the pressure data, even though we don't get any science from this. We can get some processing data, so that'll give us 15 data, which gives us 75 science per 82 days. Is that right? I don't know. Let's do that. We can also log the mystery goo as well, which gives us 60. We've got our little science junior module as well up here, which we can do a little material study on. That should give us, oh yeah, that's good, 155. Very nice. Anything else? We've got the thermometer down here. We can log the pressure data, log the temperature data. That'll give us another 50. Perfect. Okay, and I don't think, yeah, we can't do anything with this. That's annoying. I should have done it while we were on the launch pad. I can also do a crew report as well, and if I get out with Jarell, we can do an EVA report as well, and that should give us a bit to add to our science production. The stage that we decoupled is still dangerously close to the station. Shouldn't be an issue. I don't think we'll be colliding with that. Let's hope not, at least. These guys have got an escape pod if they do. Okay, so now if we just transfer Jarell back into the space station, into the science lab, we should be producing science. There we go, 2 science per day. So if we just, like, time warp a little bit and then stop, nothing happens. I thought they were producing science. I'm not sure why this isn't working. Okay, not to worry, it's all been figured out. So I had to move Jarell back into the command module here because we couldn't control the craft. But now that he's there, we can start the research like this. And that should be now converting our data into science points very slowly. I'm wondering if I can now transfer our other scientist into the module and it will keep going. Let's have a look. Transfer there. Status researching. Okay, so now there's 2 scientists in here. I'm assuming that's going to go faster. Let's time warp a little bit. There we go. You can see our science going up and our data going down. Yeah, so if we just leave these guys in orbit for a while, they'll eventually, oh my goodness, it's going so fast, they'll eventually get us all the science we could ever need. Okay, so after a little bit of time warp, we have now got ourselves 100 science. So I want to transmit this back to Earth. So I think we're going to need to send a kerbal back over to the command pod up here. So let's just fly him over there nice and safely. Where is the entrance to this thing? I think it's on the top. Nope. Is it this thing? Nope. There we go. Okay. We can board the module. Okay, so now we should be able to transmit science and back down to Kerbin below. So let's get one of our communitrons firing. There we go, and this should be sending 100 science back down to Kerbin. Hopefully we've got enough power to transmit it. I did put a load of battery packs on. Okay, there wasn't enough power. I think we need to stop the research for a bit, because I'm assuming that's using power. Let these guys recharge, and then we'll be able to transmit it. There we go, our batteries are back up to 100%, so let's now transmit our science back down to the surface below. Hopefully we've got enough power, otherwise we cannot get this data back. Oh yeah, there's more than enough. Okay, perfect. That has got us 100 science, just like that. Now we can start our research again, and we'll move Jarell back into the science lab. So let's just transfer him from here so he doesn't have to fly again. There we go. We'll leave these guys to do their thing while we go back to the space center. Okay, real quick before we send a kerbal off to Jewel, I want to test out this light scanner. So I've got it stationary on the surface here, so I'm assuming it's not going to work. Scan distance 2 meters, no target in range. What? I thought it said it had to be stationary on the ground? Maybe it has to be in geostationary orbit? I'm going to have to look this up. Okay, so I think it's like an analysis tool for a rover. We don't really have the parts to build a rover at the moment, but I'm going to give it a go. Just to have a little drive around Kerbin and See if we can find anything to scan with it, because yeah, it would be really cool to use. Okay, here is our first little rover that we've built, and it's not going to go anywhere other than Kerbin. It's called Wall A. We'll get to Wally eventually, but for now it's just a pretty basic little thing. I'm just going to drive it around close to the launch pad and see if we can scan anything with our scanning arm. So let's head out. So it turns out I built the thing backwards. This is the front. This was meant to be the front, but whatever, that's fine. I'm assuming maybe that red rock that we saw on Juna with Bill earlier was the sort of thing that we can scan with this arm. Yeah, it says there's nothing to scan at the moment. Oh, it must be stationary. Okay, let's try coming to a stop. I don't think there's going to be anything to scan around here. Let's have a look. Okay, now it's stationary. Yeah, no targeting range. I'm going to have a little drive around, and I'll see if I can find anything for us to scan with this thing. Hopefully that would get us a fair bit of science. I don't know how rare. I know there's a monolith over there, which is an Easter egg. I don't know if that's the sort of thing that we're going to be able to scan. I guess I'll go over and have a look. Okay, here is the monolith. Let's see if we can scan it using our scanner arm. If I stop... Oh my goodness, how do I stop? I've got to be 2 meters away, so that's pretty close. We're going to have to be literally right next to this thing. The brakes are not great on this rover. This thing does not want to stay still. I've got the brakes on, it's sliding all over the place. This is as close as we're going to get, I think. If it ever comes to a stop, it just keeps sliding away. Can I use it? Nope, got to be stationary. This thing absolutely refuses to stay still. Yep, no, it said no feature in range, so we can't scan this thing annoyingly. I don't know if there's anything on Kerbin that we can scan in that case. Probably not this close to the launch pad. If I zoom out, I can't see any obvious features for us to scan. So I guess eventually we're going to have to try and get a rover onto the surface of a different body in order to scan stuff and get science that way. Okay, we have got our craft ready to take the kerbal to Eve. I've also added these 2 little probes on the side with relay antennas. So we're going to drop these off on the way and hopefully start to form a bit of a network so we can send stuff back from Eve using the communitron on the side of the pod here. That's if it makes it through the atmosphere. I've got a heat shield. I've got a parachute. I know Eve has a very thick atmosphere. It's supposed to be Venus for our solar system. So that's got a very thick atmosphere, so hopefully we don't burn up on entry. We're gonna have to slow down a lot. We've got a liquid fuel stage before we drop off the capsule, so hopefully that's fine. But we've also got all these other stages, which should give us more than enough Delta V to make it to Eve in one piece, hopefully. But we do have to wait for an Eve transfer window first, so I'm going to save this craft. Oh, we also need to select our astronaut. I don't really want to send Jeb, so let's send Val off to Eve. Okay, so here we are in the tracking center. We've got Kerbin here, and Eve is a bit closer into the sun. We've got a lot of asteroids as well. Eve is this planet here, so we want to wait until it's a bit behind Kerbin. So when it's like, if Kerbin's here, when Eve is around here, that's the transfer window we're looking for. So we're going to have to time warp a bit. Whilst I am time warping though, our, where is it? Station 1. We'll be gathering a lot of science. So by the time we get to Eve, it will probably be full up with 500 science. So we can transmit that back as well as all the data we get from Eve. Okay, there we go. That is an Eve transfer window right there. Before we go, I am going to just fly Station 1 and check how much science we've got from this thing. We should probably have 500 science. Oh, it's going up. It's catching up with the time warp. I also want to change this to be a station, so we're going to click on that, and there we go. Now Station 1 is actually a station. Right, has this caught up yet? There we go. 272 science. So if I just transfer the crew back into here, and we also need to stop the research so our batteries fill back up. How are we looking? Let's wait till we're in the sun. There we go. Right, let's let that fill up. That's probably enough. Right, let's see if we can transmit this science back down to Kerbin. And just like that, we've got ourselves 272 extra science. Right, let's resume with their research, and then we'll head off to Eve with Val. Well, I'm not totally convinced this craft is going to be stable. We don't have any fairings yet, so this is all just exposed. But there's only one way to find out, and that is to launch. Okay, we have made it into a nice stable orbit around Kerbin. Now what we need to do is try and get an encounter with Eve. So if we zoom right out and select the planet and set it as a target, we now want to burn. So we want to eject from Kerbin's orbit on this side. So we're going to be burning at apoapsis, which is a bit annoying, but that's alright. Right, let's add a maneuver here. I want to be around there somewhere. And then we have ourselves an Eve encounter. So we just need to zoom up to our burn, only a 23-second burn. We time warp up to that burn now, and we're going to have to ditch this stage. That's fine. We're going to have more than enough Delta V to get us to Eve. Okay, we're ready to start our burn in 10 seconds. Valentina, say goodbye to Kerbin, because I'm not sure you're ever going to see it again. We're going to start our burn at around 12 seconds, because we're going to have to switch stages. Right, here we go. And there we have ourselves a nice 32 million meter encounter with Eve. So let's say goodbye to Kerbin. Off we go towards basically Venus. So while we're in orbit around the sun, I don't think I've actually done a crew report from here before. I haven't, so we can get 10 science from that. Let's transmit our report of what we're seeing out here. Oh, our Communitron is phasing inside one of the relay things. I'm sure that's fine. Yep, all good. Okay, well done, Val. Can it retract? Right, it can. And we can do an EVA report as well. So if we just get Val out, she can have a quick report of what's going on. Get 16 science for that. Jump back in board and we can transmit that home, and then we can zoom off towards Eve. And while we're zooming off towards Eve, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support recently on the channel. We're getting really close to 10,000 subs, which is actually insane. I never thought I'd get anywhere near this big. So yeah, thanks for all the support on the channel. And let's head towards this Eve encounter. After traveling through deep space for goodness knows how long, we have finally set our eyes on Eve. There it is, off there in the distance. Oh my goodness, I did not mean to press space. I just accidentally detached a stage with loads of fuel on it. Oh my god, that's so stupid. Okay, we should have more than enough Delta V. Just make sure we activate this engine. That's so dumb. My finger slipped and I just pressed space by accident. Oh dear. Right, we should be fine. So I'm trying to bring our Eve periapsis in as close as possible so our encounter is super close to the planet when we get there. This has got a really thick atmosphere, so we can't get too close, otherwise we will definitely just burn up. All of that extra fuel would have been super useful for bringing us into orbit, but I guess we've got to work with what we got now. Right, I'm going to try and get to about, I think just under 1 million. What are these encounters I'm getting? I don't know what's going on here. Right, let's just try and get maybe 500,000. Okay, 200,000 meters. That's as close as I dare to get. Right, we're going to zoom in and then we're going to burn to get ourselves into orbit. And then when we're in orbit, we're going to release these little probes here to act as little relay devices in the Eve system. Okay, we are very close to the planet now. The atmosphere is so thick, you can basically never see the surface on this planet. But we want to wait till we get right to periapsis before we start burning retrograde, because I do not want to accidentally plummet us into the atmosphere. Right, another 10 seconds. Let's turn the ship. Okay, that will do. Here we go. Let's start our burn to get ourselves into orbit around Eve. I can't believe I accidentally pressed space with my thumb. That's so stupid. We should be so more comfortable with this mission than it is, but it's fine. We've still got over half the fuel on this, and we were never planning on landing using the thrusters. We're going to just use the atmosphere to land. Okay, I've stopped our burn, so our apoapsis is about 5 million meters. We're going to time warp up to that now, and then we're going to drop off these little relay probes just so they can stay in orbit. I've got a small fuel tank on them, so hopefully we can get them into a fairly circular orbit around Eve. Right, I'm going to make sure I right-click it. Right, decouple. And then can I switch to that? Okay, we've switched to this little probe. I don't want to ram into our main vessel by accident, but I do need to get this into a circular orbit. Okay, now we say goodbye to Val with the relay probe, and we put this thing into a nice circular orbit around Eve, about 5 million meters up. Okay, very nice. There's the first relay probe in orbit around Eve. Now we can switch back to Val's craft. Okay, I'm also going to decouple the second relay here. This one's going to go in a lower orbit than the other one, but we're going to let it go for now. We'll sort that out later. Right, let's get Eve down to the surface. Not Eve. Let's get Val down to the surface of Eve. Okay, so I'm just burning at periapsis now to try and get our orbit as low and as circular as possible into the planet. I think the atmosphere extends up to about 100,000 meters, so we're at 200,000 at the moment, so we're going to want to start dipping into that at some point because we are starting to run a bit low on fuel, and if we run out of fuel at this height, then we basically just can't land. Okay, here goes nothing. We are going to burn retrograde now, which will bring us into the atmosphere. We've just got to hope that our heat shield can do the job and stop us from burning up in the atmosphere. Okay, there we go. We are on a suborbital trajectory now. Yep, we've just got to hope this heat shield is strong enough to bring us down safely to the planet. Let's dump this stage. There we go. Okay. And we will deploy the chute when we get low enough. We've also got no way of aiming where we land. Much of Eve's surface is liquid. It's not water, but it's like an ocean. I don't know what it is. So there's a very good chance that we'll be splashing down rather than touching down. I think we can just about see some mountains on the horizon over there. Hopefully we're over land right now. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out and we don't burn up. Okay, we're at 77,000 meters and already we're starting to enter the atmosphere and already things are starting to get hot. Okay, this has got 200 health, I guess is the word. Hopefully that's enough to get us to the surface. What's starting to get hot? We're going to lose some components, I fear. Oh my goodness. The heat shield was not good enough. Oh no, we can't revert flight. I'm so sorry, Val. You'll never be forgotten. Ah, that's so annoying. That's definitely because I accidentally pressed space and released this stage too early. We can pretty much just send the same craft, except this time we don't need the little relays on the side. We'll go again, and we'll never forget the sacrifice that Val gave Eve. Okay, I don't think you guys need to see the whole mission again, so I'll check back in with you guys when we're on an encounter with Eve. Okay, we have made it back to Eve, and this time we didn't detach this stage prematurely, so we've got loads of fuel for landing, so hopefully we can slow ourselves down and not get disintegrated in the upper atmosphere. That would be nice. And also, I've been looking at the planet, and I think there are some angles where you can see where the water is, although I actually can't see where it is anymore, so I think we're going to have to risk it and trust that we're going to land on solid ground. I can't tell if these little patches here are lakes or if those are little tiny patches of land. Let's hope they look like land, in which case there's a lot of liquid on the surface. Well, we just got to worry about getting through the atmosphere first. So for the second time today, let's start our burn to descend down to the surface of Eve, hopefully. We want to basically just get our orbit down to as slow as possible, and we should have more than enough thrust to get us to slow down and not burn up in the upper atmosphere. Those are really tiny patches of land down there. Okay, our orbit is very much suborbital now. I cannot see the surface at all. I was really hoping I'd be able to pinpoint a landing spot for us, but I think we've just got to roll the dice and hope that we land on land. Okay, we can now decouple this stage and activate the engine here. I'm really paranoid. I've got the staging wrong, so I'm doing everything by right-clicking. So our orbital speed is coming down very nicely. I want to get down to under 1,000 meters per second, I think, and then we'll save our fuel for the descent. Okay, there we go. Our orbital speed is now down to 940. Oh, it's going up again, but that's because we're past periapsis, but it will slow down as we enter the atmosphere. I'm going to save the rest of our fuel for slowing down in the atmosphere, just in case we burn up still. I know this atmosphere is so thick and very dangerous, as unfortunately Valentina found out not so long ago. Okay, we're coming in. Let's just burn to slow ourselves down, because we are burning in the atmosphere as well. Okay, the engine is overheating, and it's trying to flip the vessel. Let's just burn for as long as we possibly can. Okay, I think we are through the worst of it. I'm gonna detach. Okay, there we go. We are decoupled. Let's let that fling off into what is hopefully solid ground below us. And let's slow down. Okay, we are safe to deploy our chute now, it says. So let's do that. Okay, it looks like Bill Kerbin is actually going to safely reach the surface of Eve. And we might as well do a quick crew report while we're coming down. We can transmit this data back because... Nope, we can't transmit the data back. I think Kerbin must be out of range at the moment. There will be some points in the year where we'll be able to transfer that data back. So we'll just keep the crew report for now. And this is going to be a very long descent because, yeah, Eve's atmosphere is a lot thicker than Kerbin's. So it slows you down a hell of a lot. And as you can see, the clouds are very thick as well. Are we going to be landing on solid ground, or is this going to be a splashdown? We'll find out very soon, I hope. Okay, the clouds are parting. I see the bubbles. That looks like... I heard something explode. Is that water or is that ground? It looks like we're coming down on solid ground. Yes, we are definitely coming down on solid ground. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, Bill doesn't have to swim for the rest of his life. Even on 4 times speed, this is the slowest touchdown of all time. And just like that, we have finally touched down safely on Eve. So we can use Bill here to gather a quick surface sample. So if we take the surface sample there, yeah, we get 240 science if we can bring that home. But yeah, we're not bringing that home anytime soon. We'll get an EVA report as well. That'll get us an extra 64 science. Okay, and now get back in your module. It's underneath a bubble at the moment, so it's quite hard to see, but should be able to board it like that. So at the moment, Kerbin is hidden behind the sun, is it? Where is Kerbin? Yeah, Kerbin's over here. So eventually we will be able to transmit this data back home as soon as we haven't got the sun blocking our path. So I did neaten up the other relay. So we got the one relay on the outer orbit of Eve, and then one is a lot closer in as well. So they should allow us to transmit. There we go, transmit our data back home. So we've got the little red line here, which means we're in communication with Kerbin. Okay, we should now be able to transmit it back home. We've got the relay above us, and it's got a direct line to Kerbin. So if we review our still data now, transmit science, there we go. Okay, now we're starting the transmission. So there we have it. We have successfully touched Bill Kerbin down on the surface of Eve, and that is the 5th celestial body that we visited here in Kerbal Space Program now. And with our new space station, we've also got ourselves a very good source of science for the future, so we can unlock the tech tree nice and quickly as we continue our journey to everywhere. And next time out, we will be heading to the tiny moon of Eve, that is Gilly. But for today, that is all I've got time for, so thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do feel free to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Goodbye.